Pepper says, are you ready to declutter another section of this hoarded basement? I know I am.
Hello everyone and welcome back to A Hoarder's Heart. For today, of course, we are back in this basement. We're going to be clearing out another space in here. Now, this episode is going to be a little different than finding a hoarded section and then cleaning it out. Because what I notice is that there is a trail of stuff now in the middle of the basement. And why is that, do you say, after we've been cleaning it out? Well, it's because we didn't take some of the trash actually upstairs and out of the house once we were done recording, because we didn't take the actual time to separate the Tossy Tossy piles into this is actual trash, this is actual recyclable, and oh, this is yard sale. And I'm finally realizing why things have been churned down here for the past couple of years. The number one thing is going to be time, designating that time to follow through and complete those tasks. Second one is going to be communication. Hubby has bought a new workout thing and it's towards the front, which is fine because that's all cleared out. But a lot of those labeled totes and stuff now came back here. And I'm like, I just cleared this out. Why is this here? No fault of his own, but that is a lack of communication, because if I'm not telling him that, how will he know? A lot of this is just the combination of my ADHD and my hoarding disorder just kind of combining their superpowers so that stuff gets churned. We're trying to break the cycles and behaviors. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so the first thing that we're going to go over would be last week's Tossy Tossy pile. Now, it just needs to get separated into actual trash, recyclable paper trash, and then yard sale stuff, which I have a trash bag, so we'll put the trash in there. I also have like a paper box that we can put the paper in, and I also need a yard sale box. And it's just eye-opening to say that, yeah, I kind of like look over this part a lot. I didn't really realize it until now, where I became very aware of, oh wow, after the video is done, recorded everything, now I got to edit it so it can be out in time for the dates that I want to have it for. And I kind of like go about my business after I record the last scene of like the cleaned up spot. This normally ends up staying like for a couple days after, and then I will eventually get to it. But I noticed the past couple of weeks I did not get to it because it was just crazy. It was back to school, starting the sports. I had family from Chile in that I was making sure that I was spending time with. And it just kind of was a task that was never completed. That's the ADHD part of my hoarding. It's okay. We're not going to be hard on ourselves. We're not. We're giving ourselves grace. And we're bringing awareness to these behaviors so that we can change it. Another big reason why we're not going to think really negatively or put ourselves down for this. We're taking the action now. The issue that I found with myself is that I'm so hard on myself, and I would never be this hard on somebody else, but for myself, I gotta stop. I gotta stop putting myself down and thinking I have to have this done perfectly, immaculately, immediately, in the most perfect way, because that's not real life. Real life is being open and honest and vulnerable with your successes and your shortcomings. So it's okay. We're giving ourselves grace. We're completing the tasks. We're righting the wrongs. And righting the wrong is just finishing this right now. We got this.
All right, so we got last week's big Tossy Tossy pile organized. We have the trash bag, we have the recyclable boxes, and we also have the yard sale bins all marked up so we know. Now, I do have some shredded paper. This has to be shredded, and I kind of have to find where my shredder is. It's somewhere buried where all the yard sale stuff is. All right, so now that that's done, let's move over to these Tossy Tossy piles of weeks past.
All right, yep. A lot of this is churned, right? It's churned trash that did not make it upstairs. We're giving ourselves grace to not put ourselves down, because what that does is it puts us in a negative space. And who wants to complete a task if you're continuously having this negative self-talk of, oh, see, look, I didn't do it, I didn't finish the task. Bringing that awareness to the surface, being conscious of those subconscious behaviors, that's where we begin to change. That's where we begin to stop churning the hoard, changing behaviors, finishing the tasks. When we bring awareness to what's causing the problem or what's causing or triggering the behavior, then we're in the space to change it, to modify it. Another thing that happens with my ADHD is that my mind will get a little jumbled, right? When it's all mixed in all together, it almost scrambles my brain where I start to have a hard time separating it out because I start to feel overwhelmed. That's why we start with small spaces at a time, right? I'm going box by box, separating out. Okay, here is the paper trash. Okay, here is actual trash. Yeah, I see why this got churned over here, because this is important documentation that I don't want to get rid of, and this got mixed in with probably stuff that needs to be gotten rid of. All I have to do, I have a bin. We have so many bins now to put the organized paperwork. It's just doing that next step. What does that next step look like? Okay, I'm going to get the box and label the bin and put the important papers in, so that way I can identify it throughout the messes and the hoard. That takes away the anxiety, that takes away the overstimulation. Yeah. As I'm looking in this bin, this isn't all a Tossy Tossy. This must have been churned from the front, but again, it was never put in a bin. The point where I'm trying to figure out, do I want to put this in the yard sale or do I want to keep it? Starting to focus on doing like a no spend, but I know my creativity is going to want to make stuff. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'll keep the frames because they're small enough for a DIY. Yeah, I'll let go of this. Do I like it? Sure. Man, that is hard. I'll put it in the yard sale. It's pretty. I like it, but it's okay. I'm detaching from it. I don't need to hold on to this. This I just thought was really cool with the frame. It's a very, very old picture made in 1993. This is where sometimes decluttering and sorting can be very difficult. Getting a lot of feels by this frame right here. It's a frame. That's all it is. And the funny thing is, it's not even like it was in my room, but it brings me back to the aesthetics of being in my room. And what does that do? It makes me happy. So to talk myself through this, to let this go, it's detaching from that past in the sense that it's okay to let this go. This picture doesn't define me or my childhood. I do have memories of my childhood because it was the best. I have bins upon bins of stuff organized and labeled. This I don't have to hold on to. It wasn't even in my room. I can put this in the yard sale. So these bins right here, these are labeled, so I don't have to go through those. They just got churned from the front. But all of this stuff right here, yeah, it's trash. Here are like the flip-flops that broke on me when I was recording a couple weeks ago. But with that said, man, like in this present moment, I'm feeling a whole lot of guilt. I mean, like, I felt a little guilt when I was over here because I didn't get rid of last week's Tossy Tossy pile immediately. Because this stuff I know is a couple of weeks. The guilt that I'm feeling right now, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And of course, right now, we're going to go through it. We're going to separate the trash and the paper and what is yard sale, because that's what we're doing today. But I'm also going to navigate through these emotions, because a lot of times in my past, especially with my hoarding disorder, when I felt this extreme guilt, I just stopped and avoided going forward with anything because it was I almost wasn't mentally able to process it. But because we've done so much work and healing and recovering, we're going to process it right now. And to process it right now, I'm aware of the guilt, and I'm aware that it's stemming because I feel like a failure. But not only do I feel like a failure to myself, I feel like a failure to everybody else. And bringing that to light and saying it out loud, I know that's not true. It's not true. Nobody feels like that. I'm the one who's creating that narrative in my own head. So what I'm going to do is, do I feel guilty? Yes. But I'm going to honor it, and I'm going to lovingly look at it. Because this is where we start to make that change. This is when we transmute the energy from a negative to a positive. I know that guilt is stemming from the bullying from when I was a kid and letting people down, not being good enough. People always like just calling me these awful things, right? So by me not finishing the task from now 2 weeks ago, or maybe even 3 weeks ago, that pain is starting to arise from that past, right? I recognize that that's what it stems from. It has nothing to do with that I didn't complete the task. It has everything to do with that 11-year-old girl who was traumatized. To move through that, I'm going to lovingly look at that 11-year-old girl and say, it's okay. We're safe. We're good people. We have come up on top. You're such a good person to everyone. People really love and can relate to you. You're helping healing people. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm just transmuting that energy by giving myself love for the pain that I'm feeling. I'm lovingly looking at it and not judging. I'm not judging it. I'm accepting it. I'm allowing it to happen in a safe space, telling myself that it's okay. We're going to love ourselves. It happened. And with that love, that energy of love and acceptance, we're going to go through it now. And that maybe, just maybe, and hopefully and prayfully, that this message is helping someone else out there that feels very similar to myself. Because I feel like a lot of us, we kind of do this, right? And we don't know how to navigate through that block of feeling guilt, and we kind of avoid it. That's what I did. As soon as I felt extreme guilt like this and pain, my nervous system said, we ain't going through this, because if it's going to trigger a panic attack, we're just going to leave it alone and do something else and be distracted and escape this pain. But I finally learned how to navigate through it and come through the other side. Love yourself. Look at it judgmental free. No judgment on the emotion. We're human. We have emotions. We're supposed to have emotions. We're supposed to have positive and happy emotions, and we're also supposed to have sad, depressed, guilt, and anger emotions. It's just, how do we navigate between the two and come through the other side so that it's positive again, so that we can reach our goals, we can complete the task, and we can continue going and decluttering and letting go and still make it a positive experience.
And now, all of those Tossy Tossy piles from the past couple of weeks is finally organized and sorted. I have it in trash bags, and I also have it into recyclable boxes. And I'm actually taking it straight to the curb. I'm not even putting it in the garage. I want it completely out of the house. And it's not going to rain for the next couple of days, so it'll be fine sitting outside until trash day. Now, there was a lot of yard sale stuff mixed in that section. So I wanted to start to condense down these boxes and bins and kind of have everything contained in one area. Now, this is a huge job because the yard sale section's kind of a big mess too, and we'll be working on that for next week. But at least from what we just cleared out, I can organize and stack up those bins so that it'll be easier next week when we get started in it. Okay, so now this section is officially reset again. There are no trash to be sorted through. It's only labeled bins. It's looking really, really good. And then next week, we're going to focus over here in the yard sale section because this is taking up a huge chunk of the back basement, and I need to have this ready. I pray the weather will be good to have a yard sale on September 21st, praying for the good weather. But in the meantime, we can organize it, we can have it ready to go. And my hope and my prayer is that this video motivated and encouraged you to clean, declutter, and let something go in your home today too.